Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to make an update here on AMC. I know it's been a while since I made a chart update, but I was just busy last week, everything like that. You guys watched the other videos where I talked about it, but um, today was a big green day for AMC, and I just wanted to point out kind of where I think we stand from a cycle perspective. Today I hung out with Astro and his live stream. That was a good time. He's pretty much in alignment with this, from my understanding, as well as Colin underscore Gladman I've been talking to on Twitter. Esther Natefill seems to be in the same kind of spot. And all the other cycle guys, my friend Mocha, you guys remember him on Twitter, my underscore friend underscore Mocha. Everybody seems to be coming to the same cyclical conclusion. And I mean, it's pretty undeniable. I mean, if you look at the chart here, left and right, let me take the volume off of here. You know, if you correlate these moves with each other, on the left we have the 6-hour chart, and then on the right we have the daily chart. You know, it's pretty undeniable. Now, aside from that, I know a lot of people will likely say, oh, well, you know, this region of the chart is different. I've seen different opinions on that. Astro says that he thinks that the cycle actually began down here, or I think he said actually February 5th. So like once this finally was done is when the cycle began. When the buy button sell off basically ended is when the cycle began, running up to June. And then so similarly, he would say like this is the same cycle from there. And if you look at it, if you just look at it, and you from an inverted perspective, you see this peak here. If you just look at it from that perspective, let's change the color of this to something we haven't used yet. It's too close to the other one. Red's far away enough. No, it's too close to the pink. You gotta plan for your videos, Dave. You gotta have a script. All right. And then here you grab this move basically, and then you compare those inverted, right? You have your peak. This is that peak right here, and you have the divot, and then you run into your pink, and then that's kind of where. So you have an inverted version. The green and the pink are inverted of each other, and then everything else pretty much plays out exactly as you can see it. So like I always say, you guys can go to the chart yourself and make your own conclusions of this, but I would say, I mean, it's hard to see it you know, not in this fashion for me at this point. I mean, it's just far too similar. And remember, what we're doing here is we're not trying to at least for me, the cycle theory stuff has not always been about, oh, it's got to be exactly like it, right? It's more of, oh, look at the similarity, right? The similarity is worth noting. And in this case, it is so similar. It's so similar that it's just undeniable. And we'll talk more about cycles when it comes to Doge, because I've been following Doge, but I want to make a separate video on that. So make sure you subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss that. And we've talked about Wyckoff, and we'll get into Wyckoff and where we stand when it comes to that too, and get away from the cycle stuff for a minute. But just from a cyclical standpoint, what I would be expecting, I mean, you know, what am I supposed to do, right? For me, everything cycle wise is meeting. And to me, I would love to hear a counter argument, right? Like I would love to hear someone come to me with some sort of evidence that this isn't same what we're looking at here. Look at this. The pink run up, the pink run down. And then you have this downward action here in teal. Upward action in purple. Upward action in orange, downward blue. Bounce up, and then down to for yellow, both. Bounce up again and have this kind of like this I don't know. I got like you would just say like it's like a curve. right? That kind of just runs up, but you get the idea. You have this curved uptrend, boom, big sell off, and I mean it's hard for me to unsee it. And you can come through, do the Fibonacci's on it, find the similarities there. But I to be honest with you, I think the price action and the direction, right, the sections of the chart and what they represent is more important than any technical indicator. And Astro would probably be really excited to hear me say that because he's like super cycle boy. All right, so I mean, we can measure. We can measure what was the percentage move. To try and figure out. I don't know. Right. So the next thing that happened was 65, almost 65% to the upside. And I'm not saying that it's gonna happen in one fucking day. Right? Don't quote me on that. I'm sorry. Oh, dude. I'm sorry I cursed. I'm not gonna curse again. I know you guys got kids at home. Makes sense, right? The next move, it would make sense. If it continues to follow this cycle, it would make sense for it to hit that $56-ish level, which coincidentally would be the same as barely breaking this all-time high. Well, not all-time high, but local high. Sorry about that. You barely break above that local high. Right? Similarly, local high, barely break above that $52, $53 region. Right? And then, if we want to get really stupid and really predictive from a cycle perspective, and again, this isn't me saying that this is what will certainly happen. It's me saying, hey, based on what we've seen, if it continues to do this, which we may or may not expect, whatever, then you would see a 20% correction off of that move. So bear with me here. A 20% correction, or 18% correction, back down to $45-ish, and then yeah. So now, alternatively, from a cycle perspective, as we've discussed before, we've seen them invert certain price action. So I will say, we shouldn't completely write off their ability to push the price down in some crazy manner. But I think that regardless of if they push the price down or not, what would be around the corner for that from a cyclical perspective is the inevitable move up. So personally, I'm not. It's going to take a lot for me for my conviction and strength and in the position to change my mind at this point. I just can't unsee it. And then to pile on top of that, like I've discussed already, I personally believe that this was a double bottom back here earlier in the chart, and we can go full screen now with this chart. I'm gonna save this into this folder here and then turn all that off. So for me, we had basically a double bottoming here. And then an Elliott wave 1 is what began here. You had your wave 2 down with the buy button. Wave 3 up in June. Wave 4 down, our bottom here in August, personally, is what I believe. And I think that you're going to see a wave 5. To me, personally, what I'm targeting, and not financial advice, you do whatever you want to do. I'm just some guy on the internet. But personally, I'm using my Fibonacci extension tool to figure out what my targets are, like where I think that we're going to see resistance and things of that nature from a technical perspective. And I know what the next question is going to be, so bear with me. And these are going to be the levels that I would expect price to rise to. Now, previously we've gotten stopped out at 3.618, which in this case, if this is the correct Fibonacci extension, would be $290.94. If that was to repeat, Let's see if it aligns with the regression trend that I previously drew. It's pretty close. So yeah, I mean, really, if it were to continue to hit its regression trend, I still do think that at a smaller level, you have a wave 1, 2, and then this is like still your wave 3 essentially that you're developing. I would have to sit there and analyze it and compare it to the previous cycle, but I do still think that that's the case. I could be wrong on that, but it'd be weird, if it wasn't. Let's see. Well, what do I think about this section? One, two, three, four, five, maybe. Usually, wave 3 is the strongest. I don't know. From an Elliott wave perspective. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I can deal with it. And then, so maybe this was a 5 wave. You had an ABC down, and then you begun. Yeah. So I think it still all works out the same way as I had it before. So it would be wave 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4, 5. Sorry. 3, 4, 5. And then you have your ABC corrective wave down. ABC. Yeah, this makes sense. And then you had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So that would pretty much be the same thing, I'd say. Except in this case, it would be more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's a little wonky looking, but you get the idea. Here. And then you have your pretty clear A, B, C. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's basically how Elliott wave works if you're not familiar. And then within these waves, you have smaller 5-wave sequences. And then in the ABC corrections, you have in the the wave 2 down is a B, C built into it. And so from a macro perspective, you're looking at it from like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 normally, or something like that is what you would kind of do. So anyway, don't be looking at my chart and getting all excited and stuff. All right, I'm just doing Elliott wave counts. Anyway, yeah, I mean, to me, from a time perspective, right? So if it is a cycle, let me just delete all this right quick. Sorry. If it is a cycle and it is repeating, what can we expect from a time perspective? Well, this region of the chart is occurring slower. So if you take the peak in January and you draw it to where we are now, oops, why did I not get? Oh, maybe it's a price range. Let me get the date range. Sorry. Wrong tool, bro. If this is the same spot in the cycle, it took 137 bars. Well, it took 98 days for us to get to this point previously. And then with this similar point in the cycle, if this is in fact where we are, oh well, we've kind of turned the corner, haven't we? And this is, I mean, I have gone away from this, but for you guys who've been following the channel, you do remember, if you've watched all of my videos, you do remember me basically comparing the cycle and comparing this section of the chart to this section of the chart, and me saying, hey, I mean, this could be where we are. And the volume is very similar as well, 216 to 180, and obviously this isn't like exact. But you can see here, this took 152 days versus the 100 days that this one took. So we're moving at about 1.5 times faster, right? We're going about 50% faster than we were previous times, if this is the correct cycle. And I'm going to get into Wyckoff analysis and stuff like that as well for you guys who are interested in that. I know a lot of people really enjoy that side of the videos. We're going to go there. So just be patient. Yeah, I mean, if you draw a bars pattern, I mean, to me, if you look at this, it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to deny. I know I said that already, but like, just even if we pull it from here, like way back here, and then we just try to like basically scale it for similarity, right? I mean, it's really hard to like look at this and go, oh yeah, it's not similar at all. But yeah, so you know, cycle wise, scale wise, because obviously the scale is much more dramatic this time around because the prices are bigger, the stakes are higher. You know, we could go into these crazy $200 to $300 regions. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, you know. But it's pretty hard for me to look at this and just ignore it. And then from a timeline perspective, I mean, middle to end of November is kind of what it's looking like as it stands right now. And I want to talk to Rico too. Rico's Trade, at Rico's Trade, if you're not familiar with him on Twitter. He's been following Doge a little bit closer lately, but that guy's really smart, really knows what he's doing. It's taking a good fresh perspective, so go check him out as well. But you know, me and him have been sitting here trying to figure out if AMC's got a longer way to go than what we've been projecting, right? Which is like November-ish, whatever. And to me, today kind of solidifies for me personally that like, okay, maybe we're right on track, right? Maybe, and so let's measure this date range and just see if it ends up being 50% slower all the way through. And then I know that the other question is when MOAS. So we'll talk about that in a second. So don't worry about the volume on this yet, because obviously we have a big blank spot in the chart that hasn't, and most of the volume is going to be in the peaks of the cycles anyway. So let's see. 125 days here versus 170 days here. Let's 125 times 1.5 is 187.5. Yeah, so it's right about there. And look, I just roughly drew this, so like the scaling could be wrong on this. It could be, and I have talked about in the past that it makes more sense to. So let's say we did go to the 187, and whoever's designing this algorithm is just so lazy that they just plugged in a 1.5 times. Hey, do the same thing, but 1.5 times speed slower. Okay, 50% slower. Then that peak would be December 3rd. In that scenario, and I know you guys are sitting here going, "Well, it's not the same anymore." If you copy sections of the chart, it actually becomes more accurate, especially from a scaling perspective. I'm just doing this like in real time just to make it, you know, more simple. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, cycle perspective wise. If you guys aren't familiar with my Wyckoff analysis, we can check in on it. It's been a long time since I've looked at this, actually. So yeah, I mean, look. Oh, dude, if you guys aren't familiar with Wyckoff, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, this is creepy, man. Pretty creepy how similar this has worked out. You have, yeah. I don't know, man. It's really hard. It's hard, you know. At the end of the day, us committing to cycle and fractal theory does commit to us also recognizing that whoever is in control of this fucking thing has a certain level of control. Sorry for the cursing again. But so that's kind of weird in a way for me. But you have your last point of support here in phase C. You came back down for your last point of support phase here in phase D. And then you have, like, let's just do the bars pattern copy again. yeah, so from this perspective, you would expect you to have a sign of strength where basically you break to the top of the trading range. That's what that is. And then you would have a backup back into the trading range or back to retest the top of the trading range. So maybe it looks something more like this. It could, right? You test the top of your trading range here. So backup, LPS, and then you go into phase E, which is your markup phase. To me, and look, I'm not saying like tomorrow it's gonna be green and every day is gonna be green until then. It's still gonna trade. You can see here, you can see here that even though we bounced here and found this general uptrend, you still had red days, right? You still had days where you traded back and forth until you got into this region. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever. I'm ready for these people to throw a wrench into our cycle here at any given moment. Because that's if they can do this, why can't they, right? But at the same time, maybe it's just a part of the plan. Maybe this is just what they want. I don't know. My conviction has been that it's bullish institutions in control of the price at this point. Bearish institutions no longer have control of the price, et cetera, et cetera. Look, bullish institutions will sell to you, okay? They sold up here. These are bulls selling, not bears. They sold it down here, and then they began accumulation, in my opinion. That's what I believe. Let's look at the volume. Yeah, and the volume being what the volume is. Let's see if I can separate this here. Why does it look like that? Let's just take lines off because they're hard to see the volume. The volume being as low as it is just further confirmation. Typically in accumulation, you see this very low volume, this terrible downtrend of volume, right? That's what you want. Because this means that basically bears have exhausted, right? You see how the volume was up here in the in June, like after, right? Volume would spike up, and then it was generally a downtrend for price. When volume is higher, the price is trending down, it's bearish. When price is trending down and volume is down, it's bullish because basically bulls are saying, "Hey, hit me with your best shot. Do whatever you got to do, bears." And bears are kind of just going, "Okay, bulls aren't fighting us, so we're not gonna engage because that's how bears get trapped, right?" So they're just kind of everybody's sitting on the sidelines waiting to see who will make the next move. And the next move to me just seems like it's upward. So I mean, I just find it hard to see. I think that institutions have solidified this zone of support, like Alfred talks about, Jim Colado. From Wyckoff perspective, it's pretty clear that this, here is a tough battleground line. Like bears and even bulls, really. Bulls cause this dip, maybe like Vanguard, BlackRock type bullish institutions, Fidelity, cause this final sell off here so that they could get their last dip, man. Like get as much of it as they want at the cheapest possible price, and then now they said, okay, look, there was volume there. Maybe they see retail trending towards buying here, and then they say, okay, we're good, we got enough. Now, if we see price action, I'll say it right here, because you guys know that I'm not here to predict. But if we see the price dip down here again, down in this 32 at this point, all this stuff that I just talked about, for me at least, goes out the window. And I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm gonna go bearish or anything like that, but I will say that pretty much everything that I have been basing my thesis off of for the past like few months and been highly accurate in and everything like that, at this point now, if it would have done this like today, if it would have sold off or whatever, after this sort of move, I would find it hard for us to make a lower low and then still sit here and go, yeah, cycle. I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that, but That's just how I would look at it. That would break my my personal view of it. And then maybe it would turn into like a spring sort of thing where we sell off into this 28 zone, test the bottom, below the support range, and then institutions, that's where they get their final lick, and then we head up. Like I said, that would change my view on the entire cycle, but as of right now, it looks golden in my opinion. The cycle as we've been looking at it, me and all the smart people that at least I think they're smart. The smart people that I've talked to and everything like that, and all the analysis, it points in the same direction in my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it wasn't too bouncing around, whatever. I'm sure I'll get a lot of those comments. You talk about all kinds of, and I don't even know what the point of this video. Look, it's not about me predicting what the price is going to do tomorrow. It's not about that, okay? It's us understanding where we stand from a price perspective and comparing AMC to itself in this particular scenario and trying to understand where exactly we are rather than trying to predict the future. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe. I'm going to be making a BlackBerry video as well because BlackBerry is huge right now. And then I'm going to make a Dogecoin video. I do want to do GME, but man, I don't know why, but I'm not as familiar with GME's chart. I haven't really, every time I go to try and like mess with it, I just feel like kind of out of place for some reason. I can't wrap myself around this chart for some reason, but maybe I'll sit there and mess with it. Astro always goes, it's the same. So Astro, if you guys don't know who Astro is, that guy Astro on Twitter, search Astro AMC. Look at how low its volume is. He believes that GME is where AMC was before January, and that AMC is where GME was before January, and they're in some sort of 6-month-ish rotational cycle this year. And I don't know what that means for the future. You'd have to ask him about that, so make sure you go check him out. But good day overall for AMC holders. Congratulations. And I hope you see brighter days in the future, because if you see brighter days in the future, that means that I will also see brighter days in the future. See how I'm open about my my personal bias. Yeah, look, man, I'm here at the end of the day, I'm here to make money. I got a family. And I hope that you guys are thinking about your family first throughout this process as well, because I would not want you to be looking out for me, and as opposed to them, I want you to look out for them. They are the most important. So always keep that in mind. Always take care of yourself and your family first, and don't let anybody on the internet scare you into doing anything else. All right. You got that from me. I got your back 100%. So yeah, and then you can go follow me on Twitter. My Discord link is down below, completely free to join. I hear it's the best Discord community within the AMC community, all right? And I don't say that personally. That's what they say, the people that are there. So make sure you go check that out. And until next time, take it easy. This is a pretty good video, I feel like. Right? This is a good update. All right. I know it's been a few days since I posted or whatever. I know you missed me. By the way, if you're still here, thinking about doing a Patreon, definitely want to do that, just because I want to. I think it'll be more productive for me to cover other plays and stuff like that outside of like the main shit there, just because the YouTube algorithm feeds my content to AMC people. And so whenever I make something about something else, like the AMC people don't click through or whatever, for whatever reason. So let me know your thoughts on that. Does that make me a shill? Does that make me greedy or something like that? Or does it just make sense for me to create a more tight-knit group? We'd probably have like a special Discord channel where it's just, Patreon supporters and stuff like that. That's kind of what I've been thinking. So let me know your thoughts on that as well. You can message me or reply to me on Twitter or something like that too if you want to. But yeah, all right, you guys take it easy. Later.